Brace yourselves for an apparently controversial opinion, guys, but I liked the finale of the Amazing Digital Circus. Hell, I loved it. I guess I just have to await being burned at the stake by Twitter and TikTok, as I apparently lack media literacy and enjoy slop. Like, can we be serious for 1 second? I watched the finale for the Amazing Digital Circus in theaters, and is there a chance that the theater experience may have influenced the higher rating for me? It's possible, but that's why I'll be watching the episode again when it drops on YouTube, to see if my thoughts still remain the same. But like I said, I enjoyed the finale. After the episode got leaked online, I was thankfully able to avoid most of the leaks, well, except for those annoying-ass comments. So after hearing everyone flame the ever-living hell out of this finale, I was walking into the theater getting ready to witness the most heinous shit ever. But it wasn't the most heinous shit ever. It was just Jax, which is a different kind of shit on its own. I think one of the biggest reasons this finale has garnered so much hate is most likely due to the overabundance of Jax in it. Ever since episode 6 dropped, the fandom has seemingly done a complete 180 on Jax, calling him corny while he was taking attention away from the characters who actually needed it. And they're not wrong. Episodes 5, 6, and 7 all felt like Jax episodes, which is especially weird since Gooseworks literally said episode 5 was a Ragatha episode. So I really do get the Jax hate. Can't say I was fond of him much either, but if anything, I feel like the finale fixed most of my problems with him. Spoilers for the finale if you haven't watched it yet, so you have been warned. So very early into the finale, Jax abstracts due to him pushing away the other circus members for too long. Predictable, but I really wasn't expecting it to happen so suddenly. It was already foreshadowed, sure, but it just felt kinda sudden. So even though Jax has abstracted, Pomni in the episode tries her best to bring Jax back by essentially entering his mind. In there, we see how Jax has these unrealistic views on all the circus members, along with a really long flashback sequence where we finally meet Ribbit and learn what happened between the two of them. The whole flashback can basically be summed up to Ribbit convincing Jax to open up more, Jax getting embarrassed and practically pushing Ribbit away like he does with everyone else, and then she abstracts along with Kaufmo later on. Finally, Pomni is able to meet the real Jax, and they share an emotional moment, but Pomni is unable to fully save Jax as he remains fully abstracted. Now, that is a lot of the finale that is solely focused on Jax, and while I think this finale would have been better if we actually focused on every character in the show, I didn't really mind it as much this time because for once, Jax has an actual reason for why he's an asshole. For the longest time, Jax has just been treating all the characters terribly for truly no legitimate rhyme or reason. Now, in the finale, we can finally see why Jax is the way he is, how his relationship with his parents affected him, and how he ended up in the circus. Am I saying he's excused from his actions? Hell no. Jax still treated them awfully, and I think him staying abstracted, being unable to interact with anyone in the circus, and basically being in a constant state of limbo is the perfect way for him to face the consequences of his actions. I've seen a few people online talking about how the trauma Jax faced does not justify his attitude, and that characters like Ragatha have faced worse and act better than he does. While there is some truth in that, I don't think it's fair to judge someone's trauma and how it should affect them because at the end of the day, we're all different. Yeah, I know Jax is an animated character and not a real person, but I still think the same holds true. So, in my personal opinion, I thought the Jax stuff in this episode was good. I really hope I don't get attacked over this. I'm sorry for having an opinion, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna spend some time talking about things I liked in the finale now, because I really think there's a lot of good. The reveal that they were all just brain copies was good. I feel like another thing I hear people complain about a lot is that the finale was too predictable, but I don't think that equates to being bad. Just because you're not surprised about how a show ends doesn't mean the show is bad. I also feel like they really didn't need to go that deep into it. It's pretty self-explanatory. They also wouldn't need to spend a whole hour-long episode contemplating everything about their life. That would have gotten boring, and the montage is a good way of showing how they overcame this feeling of dread, learning to live with it. This was also the only outcome that would have made sense. Of course, this is what happened. Thank you, Matt Pat, for predicting this 3 years ago. I absolutely adored Ragatha and Pomni in this episode. Their hug was probably one of my favorite moments in the episode. Pomni calling Ragatha her best friend was exactly what I wanted to hear. Although they really could have cut a bit of the scene where they're just staring back at each other as they walked off, that was awkward. Again, I liked the Jax stuff, especially the entire flashback sequence. Finally getting to see Ribbit and Jax interact was great, and I also really enjoyed watching them fall out of their friendship. The part where they're on the snowy mountain was probably my favorite bit. While they're arguing and Jax says, "You're manipulating me," Oh my gosh. I love that line not because I think it's true, but because of how realistic that feels. People in quote-unquote relationships love claiming that one is manipulating the other, so Jax saying that really irked me, but that's why I like that line. Then we get into the Kane stuff, which honestly kind of confused me a bit, but I'll get to that in my negatives. The thing I liked the most about the Kane stuff though was definitely when he was climbing his way to those files, messing up and trying different things to get up there. I especially love how we see the red orb become more and more humanoid. It shows how Kane is finally learning what being human is, allowing him to understand the circus members better. The whole sequence really was just beautiful. Finally, I liked when we got to see what the characters were up to in the human world. Nothing much to say there. I just thought it was nice to hear how the circus gang's real-life counterparts were able to overcome the issues that they were dealing with at the time they put the headset on. As for my negatives with this episode, they're a lot more nitpicky. First of all, this really is like a Jax and Kane episode. Barely any of the other characters get any attention. What they do with Ragda is a decent enough way to end her character off. I don't think there was really much left they could have added to Kinger, so he's fine. But then we get to Pomni, Gangle, and Zubul. Gangle had like 2 notable scenes in this episode, but they were too short for them to have really any lasting impact. It's also disappointing that those moments kind of revolve around Jax as well, but Jax's abuse towards Gangle is kind of a large part of her character, so I'll let it slide. Then there's Pomni, and there really isn't much for her specifically. She has a good conversation with Kinger that helps her character a lot, but from then on, it's just her helping the other characters. It kind of makes me upset since she is my favorite character in the show, but it's whatever. Then there's Zubul, who does literally nothing in this episode, at least to my memory. I'm writing the script after I saw the finale in theaters like a week ago. It just would have been better if the characters were more fleshed out for, the final episode. Going back on the Kane stuff, what exactly was the blue orb? People complain about questions not being answered, and a lot of those questions can be answered with basic common sense, but the blue orb has me in a loop. I know it was the other AI, but Kane gives it such a weird send-off. The show never really made us care for this other AI. Unless the blue orb was actually Bubble, that could explain why Bubble doesn't appear when Kane comes back. About that as well, Kane coming back feels so cheap. It's good for his character since now it feels like he has a proper conclusion, but he was literally deleted. How does that work? One more negative I have has to be the song they chose to play when doing the montage of Jax moments. Isn't She Lovely by Stevie Wonder is such a weird song choice. Drama and controversy aside, this song just doesn't fit the vibe of the show at all. It also wasn't even the actual song, it was a cover, and no offense to the singer of the song, but it just wasn't a good cover. Then again, I'm comparing this random guy to Stevie Wonder, so there's no real competition here. The worst part is though, now this song is just going to be associated with Tadak for like the next year. I refuse to have this song be tarnished by the fandom. Overall, I like the finale. It has issues of course, but nothing to where it's like the worst piece of media I've ever seen. I feel like that's been a big problem recently with a lot of shows that have concluded. This term, media literacy, has been thrown around so much all over the internet to the point where I feel like it's lost its meaning. Whenever a show ends in a way that a lot of people didn't want it to, they immediately flame others for even liking the ending, claiming they're media illiterate. This happened with Stranger Things, this happened with The Boys, and now it's happening with the Amazing Digital Circus of all shows. And frankly, it's all kinda bullshit. You're not media illiterate for liking how a show ends. That's called having an opinion. Just because you liked how the show ended doesn't make you less intelligent than the person who claims to have media literacy. I've been watching Steven Universe for the first time, and I feel like there's an episode that captures my view on this perfectly. That being Season 1, Episode 46, Open Book.
Do you think I'm a bad person for liking the ending?
Of course not. Steven, it's just a book.
The Amazing Digital Circus is just a show. It does not determine if you're a bad person or not. Whether you think it's badly written or well written is up for you to decide. That's why conversation exists, and not the type where two people are yelling at each other back and forth, claiming they're the one that's in the right. The type of conversation where we can both be mature and have a conversation where we can understand the other side. I give episode 9 of the Amazing Digital Circus 4 out of 5 stars. Thank you for watching, and remember to stay safe, have fun, and form your own opinions. Follow me on Letterboxd, follow me on Letterboxd, follow me on Letterboxd.